Hi everyone, I hope you're coping with this really difficult hot weather during this summer. Today I really want to talk about this problem that a lot of people in this country struggle with, which is often very misunderstood, dyslexia. Some 10% of the population, we're told, have dyslexia, but it's not understood and not taken seriously by society. But it does not mean that someone cannot read or write when they struggle with this problem. And it's unlikely to be their only problem if they do have dyslexia. Because people with dyslexia process information, data, language from the right side of their brains, we're told, when usually people without dyslexia process the same information from the left side of their brains. So a person with dyslexia, because they process information from a different side of the brain from someone without dyslexia, communicate a lot more from their emotions by being creative. And this is how they make sense of language and communication. An average person processing 150 images per second, for instance, whereas a dyslexia person can process between 1,500 or 4,000 images per second in 3 different dimensional ways. So people with dyslexia may have a very poor short-term memory and working memory and can struggle to store and retrieve verbal information, but they're also very quick to grasp ideas and just as quick to forget them because of their inability to retain the information in their long-term memory. So spelling can be inconsistent. They may not be able to spell, read a particular word on one day and not the next, or even the next hour. And they typically struggle. Their struggles are word on words, difficulty in proofreading, and particular difficulty with shorter words such as is, on, at, there. Names of people and places are a problem because they don't have an associated picture. So pictures are very, very important. So dyslexia can be evident, we are told, in younger children, but it's not often diagnosed until they reach the age of 6. But it affects each person who struggles with it differently. So what are some of the signs to look out for? Well, there could be a difficulty following instructions, forgetful of words, unable to recognise words that are familiar to them. People tend to have stronger oral skills than written skills when they struggle with this problem. They may have poor comprehension skills, and they often appear very disorganised in their life. They can have a lot of knowledge on a subject but unable to express it in writing, which is incredibly frustrating for them because they have difficulty in processing the information. So dyslexia can affect your memory, organisation, timekeeping, concentration, multitasking and communication. Those are the things to look out for. And dyslexia is often seen as a learning disorder in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. People with dyslexia are not seen by psychiatrists as the condition that is accepted as a mental disorder. It's often seen as a learning difficulty. So what is life like for a person struggling with dyslexia? In many stressful situations, their coping skills may not help them. They may struggle to keep up with other people in school, college or work, and their handwriting can suffer in expressing what they mean with words. And because of this, quite a lot of people have suffered a lot of discrimination and bullying due to their struggles with this condition. And the whole area of being a perfectionist is often a problem, because they're not given the praise and feedback, and they don't feel like they're understood by other people, so they feel they need to try harder. They set themselves such unrealistic standards to cope with the feelings of often the shame and the embarrassment they feel as they try and struggle with this problem. You struggle to be content perhaps with any self-achievements if you are struggling with this problem. Whatever you're given, whatever you achieve in life, awards, trophies, certificates, you struggle to accept it and believe that it's because you have done a good job and that you're of value as a human being. And feeling or being labelled as a failure is still very much in your mind because of your struggles with dyslexia, and the feeling that you're never going to complete anything in life, which gives you a very low self-confidence, self-esteem. But I want to tell you that people with dyslexia do have some strengths. They have a good memory over stories, and they're very good at things like solving puzzles, having the skills to work out difficult solutions to puzzles. And it's important to recognise that if you are struggling with dyslexia, it's not a form of ADHD, because people with dyslexia can have a very negative emotions about their self-image. They can struggle with peer and family relationships. Due to their lack of social skills, they often struggle in pressurised situations when there's a lot demanded of them. Because of their low self-esteem, this is why they struggle in this way. So what are some of the personality traits of someone with dyslexia? Well, we know that they're often easily frustrated, they get angry quite easily, they're easily stressed and overwhelmed in certain circumstances, and as I said, they struggle with self-confidence, and they're very self-conscious when speaking to groups, and that can cause quite a lot of other problems for them, feeling overwhelmed, anxious. It affects their stress levels and obviously creates a lot of worry for them. And as we've said, there's a lot of shame, embarrassment and often guilt due to living with the dyslexic condition. But creative activities can help people. So if you are struggling with dyslexic conditions, art and music can really help you. They can help to build your self-esteem. They can help you to express a lot of your stress and emotions. And also they can help you to feel understood and feel that you are making sense of what you're thinking and feeling to help others understand you. And this can also improve your memory, concentration and organisation. So the creativity is very, very important. So how can counselling help you if you are struggling with this problem? Well, counsellors can help you manage during different times in your daily life when you're struggling with difficult emotions around being dyslexic. They can help you to look at different ways of slowing down, focusing and learning to concentrate on one thing at a time instead of trying to do a dozen things at once. And obviously that does affect your stress levels. Counselling can help you build your self-confidence by helping you to find ways of feeling understood, accepting yourself as you are and recognising the strengths you've got. And counselling can help you manage any anxiety and stress that you have, just like it can other people who are struggling with this problem of stress and anxiety. And you need someone like a counsellor to help you develop some coping strategies to improve your struggles with communication, your relationships with other people, and the difficult feelings that you're experiencing because of struggling with this daily life of dyslexic condition. And that's important, isn't it? Because you can become isolated, lonely and depressed if you're not able to feel that what you say is understood, and you're not able to build relationships with other people, and you're not able to express those difficult, painful feelings that you're experiencing as a result of this condition. And counselling will help you to find ways to learn to accept your condition, which is very, very difficult for some people. But by accepting your condition, you're actually addressing some of the main problems of why you're struggling with it. And counselling can help you deal with any emotional repercussions as a result of what goes on during the day when you are trying to make yourself understood and when you're trying to be heard and be taken seriously. So helping you to build your self-awareness is important, to find out more about yourself as a person, to help you understand yourself better, to be able to manage some of these difficult emotions and feelings that the dyslexic condition creates for you, and to help you build resilience. Every one of you has this inner strength, even though you may not feel like it, and counselling can help you build that inner strength, use that inner strength you've got to be resilient when times get hard and tough, to help you to learn through these times. And as you do that, living with this condition becomes a lot more manageable, acceptable. It may not become that more easier, but you will begin to see the strengths, the positives in your life that you can focus on, because you need to explore your strengths and your passions as a person. And all this can be sidelined and forgotten if you're struggling with this dyslexic problem. So, to conclude, it's important to realise that dyslexia is not your identity. It's a condition that you're struggling with, that you're learning to manage, but it also is something that helps you to have some strengths that other people don't have. And counselling can help you understand yourself, to manage this problem better, and to address some of the mental health issues that it creates. And maybe if you have got dyslexia and you are struggling to know what to do, I would advise you to look at counselling, but also support groups where some people can learn from each other in these groups. And it might help you if you go to a support group that you are in fact able to get some help from other people who are struggling with this condition, because you're not alone. It's important to realise that, and there are other people out there who are needing support, and they're looking for somebody like you to meet up with, to discuss this problem, to learn from each other, to encourage each other, and to be positive towards each other about living with this condition. So I hope what I've said has been some help to you, and I would advise you to recognise that you can still have a positive life living with dyslexia. You can still use some of the strengths and some of the skills that you've got, but you need the professional support and help to do that, and not to feel shame, embarrassment, but to recognise that it's just something that you have to live with, and you're not the only one. So thank you for listening to this podcast, and I look forward to speaking to you again in the future. I hope you have a good holiday, whatever you're doing, or some break from school, work or college, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.